All right, so grammar and craft this week comes after organization because this is really an editing tip or an editing look for. And it's actually a bugaboo of mine, so I do what I'm about to show you a lot. And as I edit my own work, I constantly am looking to correct this in my own self, in my own writing. And I'll show you what I mean. This is the claim that I wrote. And I'm calling it 2 words when 1 will do. So that's your clue. I want you to ask yourself, what is unsophisticated about my sentence? So here I write, Hamlet cannot build intimacy in relationships. Perhaps always inclined to inquisition and suspicion, he is now confirming that people are innately deceitful and two-timing. So what's not great about it? It's a fine sentence. It establishes a clear idea, though the idea could be clearer. And there's some complexity, but I do this thing, and maybe you know you have done it as well. In my attempt to communicate an idea, I can sometimes overreach and somewhat frantically include many adjectives to triangulate or to try to get at that thing, that idea. And I do this twice here. When I say inclined to inquisition and suspicion, why do I have 2? Confirming that people are deceitful and two-timing, why 2? And that is what we are focusing on in Grammar and Craft today. Are there ever times in your organization, your formal writing, where you use 2 words when 1 do? And more specifically, when in your attempts to describe something, you over-explain it. We're refining and tightening up language in today's Grammar and Craft edit. I have a tendency to overwrite. It reveals a lack of confidence in my claim. It's as if I don't fully trust the reader will understand me, and then I'm over-controlling the language. So I have to go through and tighten up the language, refine it, like a blacksmith might hammer out bubbles in iron. I have to beat it down a little bit. Here's what I've done in that edit. I also am clarifying my claim. So instead of saying perhaps always inclined to inquisition and suspicion, I'm going to say perhaps always inclined to suspicion of others' motives. Because that's what he's suspicious about. Not in general, suspicious of everything, all people, when everything they do. That's crazy. Nobody is that suspicious. You can't be. It would be overwhelming. What are you suspicious of? He's suspicious of people's motives. He thinks that things are driving them that they're not being clear about. And then I have to eliminate my redundancies. No need to write innately deceitful and two-timing. They mean the same thing. And so my final claim here is a lot cleaner, it's a lot crisper. My question for you is, where can you tighten up your sentences? And you might find that you don't do this, and that's great. You might actually find the opposite, that you could include a little bit more description. Either way, the goal is to have the perfect amount, just the amount that you need to describe what you're trying to say and no more. Find a moment where you can edit out a few words. I'd like you to, if you make these edits, keep the strike through just as I have done so that you can see and I can see and all of us can see where you found a place to refine. It helps you to own the moment and to even get better at that kind of refining. Right, that is all. So, happy writing.